So last night we had a pretty interesting look at what Kent Hovind did for his Whack and Atheist Wednesday, where he just went through comments, went through stuff, showed a video title from yours truly. We had a laugh. You guys had a laugh. Everyone had a laugh. We're just going to look at his open mic today. I've got no preamble planned, nothing special, just his open mic from last night because, well, that's just what we're going to do here. And I said I was going to stream this weekend. Yeah, 3-day weekend, so that's what we're doing. I don't know. I didn't prepare this very much. I was working on some other stuff, and then I realized, oh, it's time to go live. So let's just get right to it. Apparently, he goes into the whole peppered moth thing again. I skimmed through. Looks like Creationist Crybaby calls in again. So there's that. Got that to look forward to. But otherwise, be prepared for 40 minutes of Kent Hovind saying nothing of value. And in case you can't tell, that's who Dr. Moron is. Harvard, let's do this.
25. Open. Well, good evening, folks. Kent Hovind here and the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama. It is June the 12th, 2025. Open mic tonight. Feel free to call.
And yes, I did have to go on and start from the beginning. I don't miss a second of these things as a matter of principle.
Call in. You want to voice your opinion on the topic we're talking about? Evolution is the dumbest and most dangerous religious cult in the history of the world. Prove me wrong. Come on in. Let's see. We're on a.
You've been proven wrong every way possible, Kent. Every single way possible. Most fundamentally, purely based on the definition of the words you choose to use. Evolution isn't dumb. It isn't dangerous, nor is it certainly the most dangerous of anything. It's not a religion, certainly not a cult, and you only bring that up because you yourself are accused of being a cult leader. Quite petty of you, but what do we expect from you?
A bunch of channels on Facebook. That seems to be the big one. Then Rumble. That's the only one I can get on my phone still, Joseph. Every time I click Facebook, it asks me 20 questions. You know, how tall are you? What was your great-grandmother's maiden name? And I don't know. Okay. Let's see, Twitter, plus our app.
Oh, did someone hack Kent Hovind's Facebook account? Oh.
If you want to get that, and Instagram, get all that, watch it, do all that stuff. Okay. Watch, like our channel, share it, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. It does something for algorithm or something.
They make the same joke over and over. And now I gotta beg for money because I'm Kent Hovind and I don't actually do any real work and haven't worked a real job in 4 fucking decades. Give me money, please. Money, please. Screw it. We're opening the soda real time. There we go. There we go. 43 seconds in, I already had to take a drink. We're off to a great start.
You can join our 777 club if you want to support us. We have visitors all the time. We don't charge anything. Our food bill, electric bill, we spend a lot of money, but it's because people like you donate to help us reach the world. Okay. DrDino.com.
Yeah. Hey, Lord Fenrir. Yeah. Streamed early for us over here. You know, you're about 6-7 hours ahead. So, you know, it's middle of the afternoon, evening for you guys. Yeah. Happy to see you here. I have the opportunity. Might as well stream sooner, right?
Visitors from all over. I got to change that 0.06. Doesn't matter. Some other number now. Get our video series on Creation Seminar Series. That's by far the best seller. And then our series on what on earth is about to happen. I mentioned a couple weeks ago, got an idea. I'd like to wrap like we had on the van. We sold the van because it'd be hard.
Oh, God. He's back on wrapping the Prius now.
You ever use it around here? Do the same thing on the Toyota Prius. Or the same thing on the 2013 Chevy truck. Be cool anyway. It doesn't matter. That's only one sign. We got 4 signs down there now on the building, downtown Lenox. Yeah, you get 3 cars.
4 signs on the same building? That's real optimal, Kent. You know, put it all in the same place. Yep, that really works. You couldn't spread it around town?
By there last week. Yeah, there we go. Come help us build Noah's Ark. Got somebody promising to give us the metal for the roof. Just got to get all the framing done. If you're good at framing.
Whoa. No, you're cheating, Kent. Noah didn't have no damn metal. He might have had some rough iron. Maybe some bronze or something. I don't know. I forget what they had back in the stupid ages, especially the stupid ages consisting of your favorite storybook of bullshit.
Amy, come on down. I change it. Yep. June the 12th. There we go. Oh, in 3 weeks, we're going to Kentucky to Ken Ham's Noah's Ark, which I think is closed on Sunday, but the atheists are going to have their rally there anyway, are they? Okay, that's fine. We'll go up there and join them and try to win them to the Lord. So I'll pray for those guys. There it is. Go to Kentucky to help them see the light. It is between Lexington and Cincinnati. There's Louisville. There's the Ark Encounter. So if anybody lives in that neighborhood, I think we got 7 or 8 people going. You can let us stay one night in a house someplace. We save us a motel bill.
Well, once again, you can't get your friend Ken Ham to spot you a couple of nights? How telling. And hey, Wayne, glad to have you here.
Okay. Students, don't be afraid of any professor who gives you proof for evolution. There is no evidence for evolution. Listen carefully. You'll see what all they're sharing with you is a religious faith. They believe A, B, C, D, E. Call me for help. I'll debate any atheist anytime. Their channel. Here's the so-called evidence they use. One by one, we're going to
Oh no, Walmart's like 10 miles to the north. They live near absolutely nothing.
debunk these, and you can call in tonight if you disagree. We already talked about mutations. They don't produce anything new, improved information. They scramble existing information. We talked
Those words, I don't think they mean what you think they mean.
about natural selection. It only selects embryology, one of the most
Yeah, it selects against attributes which are developed by mutations, by things changing. Some weird little quirky traits might prove a little better than others. Something you can't wrap your head around. Because you can't think big picture. You have such a tiny pea brain, it can barely process what's in front of you, let alone the grandness of reality.
dangerous lies they teach still today. The babies do not have gill slits, and they're not
Yes, they do have pharyngeal arches. You dumb fuck.
similar in their embryos as ever.
Yes, they are similar in the embryos. You are just demonstrably wrong. Like that's anything new. But you're obsessed with Haeckel and controversy about his fucking drawings from 150 fucking years ago, which doesn't fucking matter in the grand scheme. Or we have microphotographs today demonstrating the traits that he was sketching. Whether or not he faked the art is completely fucking irrelevant to what's actually there. But you've got this so far crammed up your ass about the Hegel thing because you want to distract from the fact we have continued to observe these phenomena. Because all you ever do is go back to Haeckel when pharyngeal arches are brought up. It's never looking at the current science. Ever. But of course, nothing you do is current unless it's a quote mine or is some other creationist saying some bullshit.
Evidence for evolution. Homology, lactose tolerance. We covered that one last night. The palmaris longus muscle, the one that they say,
You didn't cover it last night because I did a video regarding your commentary on Dan bringing up lactose tolerance. You saw that my video exists and decided to do some weird, slightly creepy gesture, which I'll admit had me amused, but still was a little creepy. And then just spouted the same crap you always do, because your entire MO is lying about what things actually are.
12% of the population, theirs doesn't work or it's gone. That's losing, not gaining.
Irrelevant, even if one was to look at things as gaining or losing information, which is a completely incorrect way to look at any of this. Whether or not something is a quote gain or a quote loss is completely fucking irrelevant to the fact that change occurred. It's all it boils down to, you fucking idiot.
Tonight, the peppered moth. Okay.
Here we fucking go. I knew peppered moth was coming up. I didn't know this would be the whole goddamn focus. I don't give a fuck about peppered moth. It demonstrates adaptation. Whoopity fucking do. Not that you idiots reject adaptation, but you always want to act like it has certain limits. Oh, there's limits to everything, and then all you ever describe are physical limits. You can never explain an actual genetic limit. Something hard-coded in, so to speak, mind you, before anyone read too deep into that. Something intrinsic to gene expression that just can't happen, limits what can happen. You never go into that. It's always just some ridiculous reduction to absurdity of something. I think they'll ever get a dog as big as Texas. Well, given that the bone structure could not support that kind of mass, that no heart could pump blood through an organism that large, no, I'm pretty sure you won't.
We go to home, and there's the peppered moth. This is one they always use as evidence for evolution. Industrial melanism from Evolution-Outreach, Biomed Center.
And this is another thing you do, Kent, is that you act like any little piece, any little facet of stuff to help people understand, hey, here's an example of a phenomena that we're discussing. You act like that's just, oh, that's the evidence, that's the one piece that's a clue to everything. It's like, no, that is not how any of this stuff works. And of course, the reason you think like that is because your entire evidence for everything you believe is some book says a thing. And so you have to base everything on that one book. So you're hell bent on the idea that book must be defended, otherwise everything is wrong. Therefore, any one thing that's brought up on the other end, if it can be torn down, everything is wrong. Which, even if there was some facet was somehow you were proven right on somehow, that wouldn't negate everything else that comes up. But you're constantly wrong and you're constantly lying. And that's where the problem is. You're nothing but a liar. A pathetic one at that.
Industrial melanism is in the peppered moth, an excellent teaching example of Darwinian evolution in action. Really? The case of industrial melanism, melanin is the color of your skin, in the peppered moth has been used as a teaching example of Darwinian natural selection in action for
42 Donkey Kong Country shekels from Esben. What is that, Dutch kroners or something like that? I don't know. I love currencies across the world, but I can't recognize half of them. Kent versus the Dover case. Want to see that? Yeah. By the way, I used ChatGPT to send oh God, I can't speak. It's too damn early and I haven't had a proper breakfast. To give me a summary of Kent's 2006 charges and other relevant information. That might be the basis for a video later today. And by video, of course, I mean stream. Mothman.
half a century. Right, 1950s, they started teaching this. However, over the last decade, this case has come under attack by those who oppose Darwin.
Ooh. Did you hear what he said there? I'm gonna slow it just a hair. These little flubs he makes.
In action for half a century. Right, 1950s, they started teaching this.
Listen carefully. He doesn't say attack. He said attacked.
However, over the last decade, this case has come under attack by those
under attacked. Talk like you're raised in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Hovind.
Those who oppose Darwinian evolution. I just oppose lies. I like science. And Darwinian stuff is not science. It's a religion. Okay. Here, the main elements of the case are outlined and the reasons the peppered moth case became the most cited example of Darwinian evolution in action. Wow. So they're claiming it is the most cited example. Okay. Here we go from Wikipedia. 2 days ago. Well, 3 now because I downloaded yesterday. Okay.
Danish kroner. Thank you. I will try my best to remember that.
Let's see. Charles Darwin, test of Charles Darwin's natural selection in action. It remains a classic example. Really. The evolution of the peppered moth is an evolutionary.
Soot Kettle brings up that they're about to devour an omelet, to which I must respond with something that many of us of a certain age will know. Just a reference. Let me know in the comments or in the chat if you know where it's from. Omelette du fromage.
Instance of directional color change in the moth population as a consequence of air pollution. Folks, they are lying through their teeth, okay? The frequency of dark-colored moths increased at that time, an example of industrial melanism. Because of industry burning coal, making the trees turn black, the moths turn black, is what they're saying. None of this is true. Later, when the pollution was reduced in response to clean air legislation, the light-colored form again dominated. Industrial melanism in the peppered moth was an early test of Charles Darwin's natural selection in action.
Yes, and that's as far as it goes, is as a demonstration of this that could be observed as it was occurring, where the cause and effect could be seen and the link be directly shown. That's it, old man. That's as far as it goes. You read any deeper into it, that's your problem.
It remains a classic example in the teaching of evolution. You're right there. This is one of the best ones they have to teach their dumb religion. We're going to
Well, yeah, it's cheese omelet, but it's a reference to a cartoon.
tear it apart tonight, sweetly. We're going to swat that moth, okay? The peppered moth is widespread in Britain and Ireland and frequently found in ordinary
oh man, buckle up. If you got like a Game Boy or something lying around, I suggest you fire up a good old game of Tetris or something and not pay too much attention until the parts where I speak. Because this is going to be a long one till about halfway through when Big Bad Mama comes in. Yeah, that's 20 minutes in. We've got 15 minutes of this man saying the same old shit to deal with. Like, more boringly than normal.
gardens, yet it made it famous all over the world. It is one of the best known examples of evolution by natural selection. Okay, guys, this is what your heroes are claiming is the best you've got. Here is the pepper.
It is one of the best known, you illiterate piece of shit. As in, it is a commonly known piece of information. That does not mean that it is the best in terms of representing what is trying to be represented or not, which, up to the extent of what it is trying to represent, I say it would be. However, because you're illiterate, you're trying to conflate verbiage that says that it is well known to it being a superior piece of evidence. How are you this stupid without it being intentional? That's the worst thing. If you were just mentally handicapped, we could go, oh, poor you. But no, you're intentionally this way. Fucking piece of shit.
Moth. It's a little moth. Some are dark, most are light colored with little spots on their wings. The amount of smoke released into the air in England during the Industrial Revolution. Predict how this has affected the trees and moths. Oh, so they're trying to say, kids, the trees turn dark and the dark ones blended in. That would be true, I suppose.
Well, Lisbon, not that you can hear me. I don't think that works out in the grand scheme. Because, you know, according to that one guy, I interrupt Hovind way too much.
The Industrial Revolution affected natural selection in peppered moths in England. As pollution blackened the tree trunks, black moths became more likely to survive and reproduce. So the claim...
I'm going to quote Rob Zombie here. Black in the sun, what have I done? I feel so good, I feel so numb, yeah. Sorry, he said black in the tree trunks, that's all I could think about.
It was 95% light-colored moths and 5% black moths until they started burning coal. So then they claim somebody went around and counted the moths on the trees, had to be a government check, and it was 5% light and 95% black. This is the claim. This is pure baloney.
I wish your internet connection would evolve. I guess solar flare knocked out another piece of Starlink shit. We should sue Musk for polluting space.
After watching for 40 years, they found two moths sitting on the tree.
Wow, way to just flip off everybody in the UK, Kent, you fucking prick.
It's 95% of two. Is that real quick? Guys, this is dumb, real dumb, okay? Reclaiming the Peppered Moth, creation.com. An excellent article on that.
Oh, of course, because it's on creation.com. Of course, it's an excellent article. But when it's Wikipedia, oh, it's garbage. When it's in the actual science books, oh, it's a lie. It's garbage. How convenient, Kent.
by killing the light-colored lichens on the bark through directly blackening the trunks with soot. Eventually, somebody noticed that the dark variety of the moth had become more common. In certain areas where they were burning coal for factories, the trees turned black, and the dark-colored moths were more popular, is what they claim.
So, I learned something recently that in a lot of cases in older cities that were around for industrialization and the like, and had a larger industrial area, um, the west side is usually the better of the two sides, and that's because of prevailing winds in the U.S. going west to east. All the smoke from the factories would go to the east, so those areas were less desirable. And I looked at some stuff and was like, oh shit, yeah. And it's not something I would certainly think about here in Memphis, because Memphis is a strictly, river city. You go west and that's it. You hit downtown. You can't go west of downtown. You're in Arkansas then, you know. So it never quite was a thing here, especially with limited industrialization, like large scale industrialization. We're not Detroit. Um, there's some fascinating stuff when I learned that. I don't know, just bring that up. So I guess it would also depend on which side of the industrial area you were checking for moths in. Although London and such were notorious for the smogs even back at the beginning of the industrial revolution, as it should say. So I don't know. Just a funny thing I'd learned about.
So there we go. The light and dark.
And as always, I could be very mistaken. I could have been straight lied to on that. So if anyone knows different, let me know. Because unlike Kent, I want my view of the world to be more correct day by day. And if I'm proven wrong about something, I adapt to that new knowledge. Because I care about truth. Unlike this ass clown.
Still the identical same moth. They can interbreed and all that stuff. Dr. Kettlewell introduced the...
Yes, Kent, and the ability to interbreed is irrelevant, because all this was demonstrating was particularities of adaptation via natural selection, in that moths of a particular color stood out versus others, and then when the environment changed, the other moth has a survival advantage. That's as far as this demonstrates, and to read anything deeper into it is you being an intentional jackass.
Peppered moth melanism story in 1955 as evidence for evolution by natural selection. Since then, it's appeared in almost every biology text as evidence for evolution. Come look at my biology book collection. I probably got 80 of them here. Let's see. Evolution in action. Here's the problems with Kettlewell's story. The moth does not rest on tree trunks. Exactly 2 moths were seen on tree trunks in 40 years, so he glued 2 dead moths to the tree to take the photo. Guys.
Wow, yeah, a photo demonstrating something, not trying to say that that's the actual evidence. The evidence was the data he had collected through stuff. And also, I don't know, and I don't care enough to look up the exact details, because you have to be lying or omitting information somewhere in this. But it doesn't really fucking matter, because this is so low-key on what I give a flying fuck about when it comes to biology, evolutionary constructs, and actual reality. The only people who seem hyper-obsessed with this are, ironically, fucking creationists. I don't care about the peppered moths. I don't care about Haeckel. I don't care about Darwin. I care about now and what we've learned since then. Can you understand that? Okay? In a rare case, Yamato actually cares about something in the present, as opposed to 50 to 100 years ago. The rest of my life may be a fucking anachronism with typewriters and rotary phones and dial-up internet shit everywhere. But in this case, I stayed pretty damn current.
Think about it. Moths have no tendency to choose matching backgrounds. They just land where they want to land. They don't even look what color. They don't even know what color.
It's been, yes. Yes, it is. But of course, that's speaking of a very different going west. Methinks Iron Curtain has something to do with that song. But you're right.
Color they are. Can they see their own back? Kettlewell's results have not been replicated. Well, then it's not science, because science can be duplicated, observable, testable, demonstrable.
Yes. You want to know a reason they probably haven't been replicated, Kent? It's probably because the conditions that caused, the trait that was observed no longer exist due to, this is going to shock you now, attempts at cleaning the air. attempts at not emitting every single possible toxin you can from your factories. Because I know you guys don't like this, you Republicans and all think clean air is of the devil, but it's generally not good to breathe in all kinds of horrific shit.
The shift in population did occur, but took place before the new lichens grew on the polluted trees. A parallel shift in moth populations occurred in the U.S. industrial areas, but there was no change in the lichens.
Really, more correctly, it was like dialing into BBSs and the like. I've got equipment to, make such happen. Different little numbers I can connect with and the like, but no, it's not something I do regularly anymore.
The peppered moth is a great proof of design. God wants to make sure the moth population survives no matter what happens to the environment. That's planning ahead.
And actually, right now, since I didn't go on and renew subscription to a VoIP service of a particular type, I don't actually have access to any kind of dial-up networking directly. Everything else is strictly VoIP limited to equipment in such a way that I couldn't do such calls, I don't think. So, it is what it is.
Ahead. Ford and General Motors, and I just heard yesterday, Honda does the same thing. They put heaters and air conditioners in some of their cars. Can you imagine that? Don't they do the opposite thing? Yeah. See, they don't know if the car is going to warm climate or cold climate. So God designed almost all of the life forms to have a variation within their gene code that allows them to survive in different environments. Oh, interesting. The moth is not proof of evolution.
Oh, interesting. The man has said everything he's going to say. We're just going to hear him repeat shit for the next 10 minutes till Big Bad Mama comes on. Or Creationist Crybaby, whichever one. Because they're separate people, but they're strangely identical. It's very weird. It's almost like they're long-lost twins.
2 moths were seen resting on the trees in 40 years. But they claim this is evidence for evolution. It's been proven wrong years ago. Stop using it, atheists. Get it out of the books. You go protest Ken Ham's ark in Kentucky. Why don't you protest the books for teaching lies? If you had an honest bone in your body, if you really...
Yes, Kent. Call us all liars. Just keep on. Keep on. What's that about ad hom? That's an ad hom.
Want truth and science.
Because you're not only accusing us of being liars, but saying that us being liars is directly related to the protesting of the ark, the not, protesting this, that, the other as a part of your thing. Just oblately. As opposed to when you bring up your credentials, your skills, quote unquote, trustability, to where that becomes part of the discussion and needs to be torn down. It's a very subtle difference, but it's there, Kent. Primarily, most obviously done because you're a complete fucking asshole.
Well, then get these lies out. Let's see. Lamenting on the loss of one of their favorite examples of evolution. Noted evolution, talking about, they realized peppered moth doesn't work. Noted evolutionary biologist and vocal atheist Jerry Coyne commented on the fraud. Until now, the prize horse in our stable of examples had been the evolution of industrial melanism, the peppered moth. He likened his own reaction to the whole debacle when they discovered it's not true, how he felt when he first found out it was not Santa who brought the presents on Christmas Eve. Sorry, Jerry. Yet in jest, he lamented that the moths are not yet ready for the glue factory because he still wanted to hold on to them. See, they hold on to this peppered moth story. That's all they've got. That's their best one. And it was 2 dead moths glued on the tree. However, even though this fraud has been exposed for some time, peppered moths are still cited in textbooks today as evidence for evolution. Evolutionists say, even if it was wrong to use the dead glued moths as evidence of moth behavior, it does not negate the fact that the environment contributed to a change in the ratio of dark to light. They're not going to give it up.
I don't know, Fungus. I'd say that's kind of an insult to dinos. Kent is more of a parasitic lamprey.
You prove it right in front of their face, they're going to keep it anyway. We've already pointed out changing the ratio is not evolution, even if it accomplished by natural selection. Windows to the universe. Let's see.
From the window to the wall.
Brought to you by the National Earth Science Teachers Association. Wow. Peppered moths, an example of natural selection. Downloaded yesterday. proven wrong, 50 years ago. And you guys are the teachers of our kids? Get up to speed on your science, okay? Here we go. Downloaded yesterday. Natural selection. From
Downloaded yesterday. Translation. I took a screenshot of it.
Ask a Biologist. I don't know if ASU is Arkansas or Alaska or Arizona. Anyway, one of them. Maybe another one, okay? During the time, England was experiencing what is known as the Industrial Revolution. Factories were being built and they ran by burning coal for fuel. The result was a dark smoke that covered the surrounding countryside. Trees had been light and covered by lichens were now dark and bare. They're still using it as evidence. Proven wrong a long time ago, guys. Come on, knock it off, okay? Here's from Oxford University. Oh, this ought to be good, okay? Museum of Natural History. What's one of their evidences for evolution? The peppered moth. Really? Oxford, shame on you, okay?
Kent, anyone who understands how to use the internet knows what you did. You have specifically looked up peppered moth and gone out of your way to find where this is listed in any kind of scientific resource. And then you say it's touted or some big thing, when it's probably just a piece of indexed information amongst the countless other observations, facts, historical records, etc., that correlate to this field. The multifacetedness of it being the key reason you're obsessed with the one topic at a time. Your game doesn't work, old man. You understand that, right?
In the 1950s, Kettlewell conducted a series of experiments in the evolution of peppered moths. Why don't you tell the stuff since then, guys? Because it destroyed your little icon, didn't it? Downloaded yesterday. Bio.
There we go. The accusations that we've got religious idols and such. No, Kent. Also, this isn't downloaded. This is a goddamn screenshot of a Google search. You fucked hard.
Med Center. These surveys alone provided convincing evidence.
Why don't you show us the search query, Kent? Why don't you show us what you actually searched for? What exactly brought you this? Because you probably were looking up peppered moth, evolution, and probably some other fucking terms you could try to get in balls deep and stuff and make it look like just, you get this info and just lie to people to make your idiotic followers think, oh yeah, they're still putting this out. It's like, how would Kent have come across this information? Internet doesn't just magically give you stuff. Except, viruses and spyware and fucking ads up the wazoo. Two more viruses and spyware, but that's irrelevant. You gotta look for this stuff, Kent. Meaning, of course, if you search for peppered moth, you're gonna get stuff on the peppered moth. Whatever kind of game you think you're playing, you're doing a terrible job of it.
Evidence that the peppered moth had evolved under the influence of natural selection. Nothing changed. There were already dark moths, already light moths. Even if their story was true, nothing evolved. It's the ratio of the population. If you pick a city around here and you say Repton, Alabama is 30% black and 60, 70% white. I don't know what it is, something close to that. Let's suppose.
Give me just a second. I decided to snack at the wrong time. Just a moment. Okay. Kent, I want you to listen real close. All right? Have you not multiple times, including some point this week, gone through your I've never seen a black man, I've never seen a white man, cover your Bible and be like, that's black. Show a sheet of paper, that's white. I'm not white. And then you're going to say that. Now, again, this wouldn't matter whatsoever if you were bringing up statistical estimation simply for the sake of making your point. It would not matter in the least, save for the fact that you yourself constantly stress that you don't see color, don't see race, there's no such thing as a black man or a white man, and yet you use those criteria to differentiate things. It isn't even a matter of using like other terms like African or Caucasian. That would have sufficed. But no, you've got to go that route with stuff. You're fucking mental.
White people move out, black people move in, and now the ratio of the city changed. That's not evolution. It's a change of the ratio of the population. That's all this peppered moth thing did. Let's see. No other process could lead to such direct correlation.
Sorry, food got delivered in that, so I had to cut the rant a little short.
Really. Here's a NIH. I forgot what that stands for. Selective bird predation on the peppered moth. Oh, blame the birds. They ate the light-colored ones on the dark tree. They could see them better. Okay. None of that's
Yeah, that's how it goes.
true, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Animals just eat whatever. It's not a matter of them hunting for the ones they could see. This one time, me and my girlfriend at the time thought it'd be nice to take our rat for a walk. And so we had a little harness and everything. And, it's not a case of walking it like you walk the dog. It was shoulder time. But we went walking around. And I look up, and the neighborhood I used to live in always had large hawks going around because there's a lot of forested area with some field back there and some additional fields for the power line easements. And we look up, and this son of a bitch is circling. And it was a normal area for this one to be circling, but it was definitely a targeted circle. And it's like, oh, maybe we should go before this thing tries to come down and swoop up Layla. Because she was an albino rat. She clearly visible by the hawk, 100 feet up in the air. But no, Kent, tell me again how they never, ever go after ones that are easily visible. Go on. Please explain how they have better success by not going after the ones that are easy to get. That are easy to see. Come on, Kent.
Because they don't rest on trees. They rest up in the branches under the leaves. Got nothing to do with the bark on the tree. Industrial melanism in the peppered moth is still one of the clearest and most easily understood examples of Darwinian evolution in action. Downloaded yesterday. You guys ought to be ashamed of yourself. You're lying to students to try to rescue your stupid theory. If you got evidence for your theory, show it. But don't lie. Here we go. Holt biology, right here. Here, I'll blow it up for you. A hypothesis.
There we go. He's bringing up his crappy scans of textbooks from fucking forever ago.
Explaining the replacement of light moths by dark moths can be formed using Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection. Dark peppered moths are common.
It's not that. I mean, their internet service at this stage is apparently Starlink. That's why it craps out randomly, but it's still more reliable than it used to be. But he doesn't download wiki pages. He's just fucking screenshots of them. But he's saying he downloaded it because that's the only tech term he knows. He doesn't comprehend what he's actually doing. That's all it is.
In industrial areas where tree trunks were darkened by the soot. It's the same lie. When I was at the Tulsa Zoo years ago, they've got a big display as evidence for evolution. Proven wrong.
I was at the Tulsa Zoo, like 18, 19 years ago. Oh, no, wait, excuse me. 23 years ago. Sorry, I forgot what decade it was, apparently. Did you say a few years ago, Kent?
Areas where tree trunks were darkened by the soot. It's the same lie. When I was at the Tulsa Zoo years ago, they've got a
just years ago.
Big display as evidence for evolution. Proven wrong a long time ago. You guys ought to be ashamed of yourself at the Tulsa Zoo. If the moth is really evolving a new color to hide, why didn't they just evolve green and hide on the leaf? Huh? Or
No. Walls of text are actually fine. Absolutely fine. And I like to leave them up for a time for people to get a chance to read. That's why I click through pretty much every comment that comes through. Because y'all always bring up good stuff.
There are green moths, What happened to the peppered moth? Is he retarded? What?
And yes, I know there's the irony of me sighing at him using that word when I use it. I don't use it as callously, though. I use it in the particular case where Kent has demonstrated that the only word to describe his actions are that they are somehow inhibited, which is what retard means. He, however, just brings it up flippantly like someone from the fucking stupid ages of Boomerlandia would. I don't know. Fucking tired. Which is weird, because I woke up. It's that early tired instead of late tired. I don't know. I'm always tired.
Don't they evolve blue to hide on blue flowers, or red, or yellow? Only 2 moths were seen resting on the trees. Yet most schools are still teaching this is evidence for evolution. Is public school a place to get educated or indoctrinated? The evolution of the peppered moth is an evolutionary instance of directional color change in the moth population. Wikipedia, somebody needs to update this. This is lying, okay? Peppered moth is widespread in Britain and Ireland, frequently found in wherever. One of the best known examples of evolution by natural selection, downloaded yesterday. No, that was downloaded a couple years ago. But just same stuff is on there all the time. Same lie taught over and over. Peppered moth, an example of evolution in action.
Wow, Kent, it's almost as if web pages, this is going to shock you now, don't necessarily change. That, once something's up and it's pretty as good as it needs to be, and it's filled with the correct information that it needs, which this is correct, by the way, they don't change it because there's no need to. You don't need to constantly type up a new web page every time someone searches for something. Do you not understand how the internet works?
Action. A whole video about it here. Why is the peppered moth an example of natural selection? Light-colored peppered moths are no longer camouflaged on the dark trees. It's the same story. They're lying. They don't rest on the tree trunks. Peppered moths, an evolutionary icon. They're back. Oh, no. A couple of years ago. Peppered moths, how evolution's poster child. One of the best known examples of evolution observed in the wild. Yep. evolutionnews.org. It's a great article, actually, showing how it was proven wrong. I don't know anything about evolutionnews.org, but they blasted their own, if they believe in evolution, blasted the peppered moth really well. Ask a biologist. Here we go. Study confirms truth behind Darwin's moth. Physics.org. Teachers have revisited and confirmed one of the most famous textbook examples of evolution in action. Let's see, University of Exeter. You guys are lying. It is not evidence for evolution. They claim.
Only liar here is you, Kent. And my God, can you make a point without it taking 20 fucking minutes?
The dark moths increased as the trees turned dark. Bio Ninja. Evolution example. The moth again. It's the best they've got. Evolution. The evolution of the peppered moth over the last 200 years has been studied in detail, and debunked, Wikipedia. At the start of this period, the vast majority of peppered moths had light-colored wings. Same story. The Industrial Revolution made them turn dark, and they died because they couldn't hide. This is just pure baloney. The peppered moth's dark genetic past from nature.com. Researchers find a single ancestor is responsible.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Is it chronic fatigue or depression? I think it's mostly the first one at this stage.
For the best example of natural selection. You mean the dark and light moths had a single ancestor? I bet I know what it was. A moth. Single gene behind one of the most famous examples of natural selection. Well, Science News, if that's the most famous example you've got, your evolution theory is stupid. Okay, it's dumb. Get rid of it. Let's see, here we go. SN Explorers. How a moth went to the dark side. Peppered moths and some butterflies are icons of evolution. Now they found the gene to...
Butterfly, I am your father. Since butterflies are modified moths, that joke is very apt.
To make it happen. Oh, they found the gene that changes their color. They don't change their color. They're born with either black or light color. This blog installment focuses on perhaps the most well-known example of natural selection in action, and a topic we have covered in blog before, the peppered moth. Well, National Center for Science Education at Berkeley, California, Jeannie Scott and Skip, call me. Schedule a debate.
Hey, just to clarify, Polyphonics, it's not Inca. A lot of people think that when they hear it. I did it first too. No, take out the N. It's ICA. Ica, Peru. Yeah, there's no in there. Although I know you hear it when people say it. I know you think you hear it because they probably are saying it, but it's actually Ica, ICA. But yeah, he believes very stupid stuff like that other creationists don't even go with.
Anytime, anytime. When I was there visiting the National Center for Science Education in Berkeley, I was walking around. I just walked in. Anybody can walk in there. I'm walking around. This one guy kept walking back and forth from his office to some other place.
Oh, good Lord. I'll take another story that didn't happen for 500, Alex.
He kept looking at me. He'd walk by and look at me. Finally, he walked up and said, "Are you Kent Hovind?" "Yes, sir." He said, "Oh, no. You're standing on our floor." I said,
Yeah, this never fucking happened.
"That's because I can't fly." When I left, they taped a piece of paper on the floor. "Kent Hovind stood here."
Yeah, if that ain't some DPRK shit, if it actually happened, I don't know what is. You fucking idiot. That never fucking happened. Lying is a sin, Kent.
Berkeley University. Ha! I loved it. Okay, let's see. Wildlife trust. The peppered moth is renowned for its markings that have evolved to camouflage it against the lichen in the countryside. This is a lie. The moth didn't evolve any such thing, you guys. This is the best they've got, Joseph, which is stupid.
Why are you talking to Joseph? Shouldn't you be talking to your audience?
Let's see, current biology, the peppered moth. Let's see, Hannah Rowland and colleagues introduced the peppered moth whose industrial revolution was an early evidence of evolution. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, you're good, Polyphonics. Just a super common one, and I didn't want someone to come around and be like, "Hey, look at Inca stones, ha ha ha, he's dumb," because fucking creationists will do that shit. I don't want to be assholes to a friend.
It never was, it wasn't then, it isn't now. Britannica, peppered moth, species of European moth in the family, let's see, speckled black and white wings. It is significant. It's of significance in exemplifying natural selection through industrial melanism. You guys, you're way behind on your science. Get up to speed. Ageofevolution.org. Ooh. The story of the peppered moth is one of the clearest illustrations, both of the effects of industrial revolution and of Charles Darwin and Alfred Wallace's famous theory. You guys, you're way behind on your science. You disagree with me on peppered moth? Call in. Open mic. Joe, if anybody calls in, let me know. Crybaby, is it about the peppered moth? I don't know. Okay, bring him in. I got a bunch more on the peppered moth if that
Finally. Someone who actually knows what they're talking about.
doesn't convince him. Go ahead, Crybaby. Yes, sir.
Hey, Kent, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I wasn't prepared really for the peppered moth, but do you agree that that's an example of natural selection and mutation?
I do not. It's not a mutation. They already have the gene code for black and white. It is not a mutation, and it's not natural selection. The birds aren't selecting based on the color. It's not an example of evolution at all.
The black moths inherit that mutation from their parents. It's a heritable mutation.
Oh, fungus, you say that, but apparently YouTube isn't on to me. I found a way to upload the NSFW content without anyone realizing it. It's just, this isn't the kind of stuff anybody wants to watch.
It's already in the gene code to produce both colors. Why do you say it's a mutation? What exactly mutated?
Well, I mean, are you saying that we don't have mutations every time that we give birth to a baby, for example, that baby doesn't inherit mutations?
No, listen to me. The moth having a black or white wing is not the result of a mutation. There are black and white people in the world. We call them black and white. Are they the result of a mutation?
Well, that's this is a different.
Yeah. White people are a mutation because our ancestors originated out of Africa, would have had darker complexions. And in migrating to areas where sunlight is less direct, less harsh, lightening of skin has some benefits. Vitamin D processing. Still don't know how that works my own self. I'm pale as fuck. I really need to go get some sun sometime. I guess I will at the ARC protest. I'm gonna be sunburned like a motherfucker. I mean, yeah, that's how this works, Kent. I get flabbergasted because it's like, how can I not explain this so straightforward and you just miss it? Like there's no other way to explain this stuff. That is how evolution works. You're just plain lying.
I think so. The dark color is caused by a single gene, a mutation in a single gene.
Okay, what about for people? Would you agree there are dark-skinned people and light-skinned people on the planet?
And yes, definitely to sanitize the space.
Are they still people?
Yes.
Can they still interbreed?
Yes.
Is one of them, either the dark or the light, is that a result of a mutation? How do we get these different color skins?
They're either dark-skinned or light-skinned due to heritable mutations, I would say.
Well, not for mutations. It's part of the genetic code.
I mean, you're looking at
Norwegian.
mutations as a negative thing, like a mutation is something that's just deleterious.
Okay. So
anyway,
the moth. Now listen to me.
I don't really want to. Can I ask something else? I don't really want to talk about the peppered moth.
I'm going to stay on the moth for a minute. The peppered moth is not a result of a mutation, and it's not evidence for natural selection. They don't rest on the trees. So you can't say the birds can see them better on the trees because they don't rest on the trees. All the research shows they stay up in the branches under the leaf. So the birds have nothing to do with it. So it's not an example that should be in the textbooks. That's my point tonight.
Okay. I'll let you, we'll stay with that. But I want to talk about the stratigraphic column, or as you would call it.
Because that's all religion is based on, Zoomy. Lies, damn lies, and made up ass statistics. I don't know. I should have just went with the lies, damn lies, and statistics, but you know.
The geologic column. So a stratigraphic column is a representation used to describe the vertical location of rock units in a particular area. Can you hear me?
I hear you much better. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just saying what a stratigraphic column is. It's a representation used to describe the vertical location of rock units in a particular area. So I want to know from you, can you take a stratigraphic column for the Grand Canyon, and could you go there now and identify the units of rock from that stratigraphic column?
Your whole thing is based on the false assumption that the layers are different ages. Is the top layer younger?
Just forget the ages for now. Could you take that stratigraphic column and go to the Grand Canyon and identify the particular units?
I could probably follow the instructions in the book and do that. That's not something I
well,
think the whole thing
you would know where the Coconino sandstone is or the Kaibab limestone, right?
The fact I don't care if it's Coconino or Vanillanino, okay? It's
okay, but you would be able to identify those from the stratigraphic column.
You're still under the delusion. You're under the delusion that the top layer is a different age than the other layers. If any of those layers are different ages from each other, where were they hiding out until they landed there?
Okay,
I'll answer that. The same age.
I'll answer that.
All right. Let the record show if you haven't seen it before, and this goes especially true of Hovendites who may somehow still be watching. This question is about to be answered, as it has been numerous times before, but we once again have documentation of it being answered.
Let me provide an example of that. So say somebody makes bricks in the year 1800. In the year 1900, they cement those bricks together in a house. In the year 2000, they've demolished that house and they used the old bricks to build a new house. What's the age in the new house?
What's the age of the brick? What's the age of the house?
He just asked, what's the age of the house?
Putting an old brick into a new house.
What's the age of the house?
I suppose. So you're saying the house that was built out of the older brick.
Oh my God. Going out of his way to avoid answering. Just straight up immediately. So transparent. Holy shit.
If you're going by the date it was built, this is very different though than this claiming because a layer is laid down at a certain age. Therefore, the dirt in that layer is a different age. You gotta really look at your own example here.
Well,
the dirt in those bricks is
the bricks can be.
Answer the damn question, Kent.
The cobbles I'm asking you though, the answer to the question is the old house would be dated at 1900 and the new house would be dated at 2000.
Well, Zach, a thing, as much as we jokingly try to get Kent to understand stuff, none of us are actually trying to. He's not going to. He's not going to care. He's never going to change his mind about anything. This is his grift. This is his lie. This is what he does. This is his entire existence. He's going to die with the last thing he does bitching about pepper moths and whale penises and Darwin and Haeckel and the government broke 100 laws to put him in jail and shit. Those are one of those is going to be his last fucking words. But the idea here that BBM and others are doing is to try to plant a seed in those listening, those watching Hovind streams, who may be more reasonable, to plant the seed of something, hopefully trip some bit of logic in their brain to where they begin to realize Kent is full of it. And hopefully, even if they don't drop, religiosity, we don't care, to at least get them to realize at the very least that that Kent Hovind is a liar, is a terrible person, and is not someone who should be valued, respected, or anything of the sort. He's a person who honestly should be behind bars still. But sadly, society failed us. Squeaky chair, let's continue.
Despite the fact that the bricks were manufactured in, I think I said 1800. So think of those houses as layers.
And probably the nails in the house came from iron that was made at the creation of the world 6,000 years ago. And might be made.
Yeah, but how old is the house, Kent?
But still, the house is a certain age, and that's what we're dating is the age of the layer.
No, I know you believe
we're not
that.
Dating the brick. The bricks could be cobbles, for example, cemented into a cemented cobbles could be bricks in a cement in a house. The age of the house itself is not the age of the bricks.
Right. People use antique stuff all the time. Around here, they have really ancient buildings. They tear down to save the wood and reuse it. Like you get the ancient hickory flooring, put for your floor of your house. But you're missing the point. Every speck of dirt in that house is the same age.
Yes, but how old is the house?
Every speck of dirt in the universe.
Yeah, but you're the one that's missing the point, because I'm asking for the age of the house, which is the age of the layer, not the age of the grains in that layer. It's the age of the layer itself. It's the age that the layer is deposited or laid down as magma in a volcanic eruption. It's not the age of the particular elements or even the grains of rock that compose that layer.
Oh, I understand completely what you guys are trying to say about that. You're saying the
No, you don't.
layers are different ages because that's when they were laid down. Moving it from here over to here to lay it down is like shuffling a deck of cards. Is the top
It's
card
not
now
like
younger?
shuffling a deck of cards.
The same material. You moved it over to a new place.
It's like adding a card upon a card, and we've had this discussion before, but it's like adding a card on top of a card on top of a card, and basically climatic and geologic changes over time would be expected to change areas back and forth between sedimentary and erosional environments. So sometimes you're getting sediment that's deposited, and sometimes you're getting those layers are eroded depending on the climate or particular tectonic environment, say that what's happening at that particular time.
I understand. So during the flood, just like 2 Peter prophesied, the scoffers are ignorant of the flood. During Noah's flood, with the crust of the earth being much more loose than it is today, freshly broken up when the fountains of the
Answer the question. How old is the house?
deep broke open and the water underneath came to the surface, the plates would move around and the water might slosh one way for 6 months and slosh another way for 30 days. I make hundreds of layers. I can do it right here with my little sand art toy, wherever it went.
Oh, fuck. Here we go. He's playing with his toys again.
I can make dozens of layers in a few minutes. What happened to my sand art toy? Oh, they put it way up there where I can't reach it. Okay. So, yes, I think every speck of dirt on the planet is the same age. When it was laid down means nothing. It's still the same age.
Of course, when it was laid down means everything. Because the fossils that lived, the organisms that lived at that time are preserved in those layers. There's volcanic elements in those layers that we can date those layers using radiometric decay, potassium argon dating, say.
Back up and look at it from a whole new perspective. During a flood, worldwide flood in the days of Noah, some whole ecosystems would be drowned at the same time. There might be hot water coming out from inside the earth that would kill all the fish within 40 or 50 miles. And so those dead fish are going to be buried. And then later, that section of ground comes up, and now maybe something else happens. The birds run out of
How are the fish going to be buried, Kent? Dead fish tend to float.
food, so flocks of birds die. It could be that all the layers that we see were formed in one flood, Noah's flood. And you could, if you really wanted to look for that evidence for that, you could say, wow, you're right, this could do it. It could do this. And it could sort the animals a little bit based upon lots of things, based upon their habitat. I bet clams are going to be found with other clams because clams hang out with other clams.
I've looked at the data, and when you take the Grand Canyon, it basically shows that there were sea level rises and changes gradually over time. And so you would get, sandstone would be beneath siltstone, beneath limestone, et cetera, depending on the sea level changes that are happening. It doesn't show. You even admitted right tonight that the geologic column, you can use the geologic column that's been prepared for the Grand Canyon and use that to identify the rock layers that are in the Grand Canyon. You can use that drawing, that representation that is the stratigraphic column, and identify those layers.
Here's where you're missing the point. They made the drawing of the Grand Canyon.
Now I want to go to the Grand Canyon and just touch some really old ass rock. That's all I want to do now.
Layers based on the Grand Canyon layers. This is
right, but you could go 10 miles away. You could go 10 miles away from one particular location, or even 50 miles away, and still find those same layers. No way you would see that during a global flood in a chaotic environment like that.
That's exactly what you would see in a global flood. A global flood means global. The layers would form over huge areas. You might get a layer of limestone. There's a gravel seam that goes from Alabama, where I live, all the way to North Carolina. 7 layers of gravel, and it's predictable. Come see it. Gravel, sand, clay, gravel, sand. Go from here to North Carolina.
So tell me how you would get the multiple layers.
And yet funny that that isn't all over the planet, that it's just in that area. It's almost as if it has to do with the geologic history of that area over a long period of time.
Of limestone forming in the Grand Canyon
well,
during
like said,
Noah's flood, for example.
Right. If the crust of the earth was freshly broken and still loose, the pieces had not locked together well, like most of them are today. Some are still.
In hell, I just remembered the fact that I live over the edge of a spot where part of the continental crust that the North American plate is made of tried to split and failed. And I live on top of fill-in, effectively, of that area, about 5 miles deep. Fucking blows my mind, man. I'm living on 5 miles of dirt basically piled up on top of rock that tried to rip itself apart. Oh, man. Geology's fucking awesome.
Still moving. The plates of the earth just moving back and forth, the tide going up and down, water rushing in and out. There are lots of factors. Ask anybody who spent any time on the ocean or in near the ocean and see how strange things happen rapidly. So you could have the crust of the earth get inundated by it, just simply the tide, leave behind a layer of limestone. The moon pulls up the tide, water rushes in.
Limestone's formed through the very...
Ooh, okay, yeah. I will definitely do some of that. I will definitely touch some of that highway cut-through rock. Love me some Ice Age strata.
Gradual accumulation of calcareous shells, tiny calcareous shells of organisms.
It doesn't have to be gradual accumulation.
Soot, are you trying to say I'm pining for the fjords?
It could happen from one catastrophe against a great thermal shock. All of a sudden you get a bunch of hot water coming into one area and everything dies. Go to the diatomaceous
and then all that,
quarry
and then you get a bunch of other layers, and then you get another limestone layer on top of that from another death event. Is that what you're saying?
That's certainly possible. I'll watch the video when I get
Where's
to
the
heaven
evidence of that? We have paper after paper written about the Grand Canyon describing the fossils and the depositional systems that those layers were formed in. Where's the evidence for your model?
You should see all the papers they write in North Korea about how wonderful the guy with the funny haircut is. They've got lots of papers written about him. He's a great guy, you know.
Ah, yes, the claims of conspiracy.
Yeah, but we're talking about global science. We're talking about science around the globe. Do you think there's a global cabal against creationism?
Oh, asking the critical questions.
I think there's a Satan versus God war going on, and Satan guides a lot of people's thinking, and they don't want God telling them what to do. That's another story. I think there's a much bigger picture who's determining what. But would you agree, in a country like North Korea, they would never publish an article against communism or against their wacky leader? In Iran, they would never publish an article.
Right. I would agree with you there, but we're talking about science in every, science across.
I'm gonna be real now. I want to watch the Dead Parrot sketch. It's been a while, and I love that one.
Across the globe, and you're basically saying there's a giant conspiracy, or people are being fooled by the devil, or what have you. But we're not talking about a particular religion or particular political party or what have you. We're talking about science.
Maybe we are talking about a religion. Maybe evolution is not part of science, like I've been saying for years. Science is what we can observe. We observe cows produce cows. Chickens produce chickens every time. That's observable. Every farmer will tell you that. It is not observable to say the cow and the chicken should be connected with lines on paper saying that they're related to a common ancestor. There is no observable science evidence to say why a camel should be connected to a duck. They got the duck and the camel connected with lines to a common ancestor. That's not science.
Okay, well, we'll save that discussion. We'll save that discussion for another day. Are you going to be at the Ark in July?
Oh, yeah, hopefully July 6th.
Okay, I think I'm going to be there, so I look forward to seeing you guys there.
Sounds great. Well, hey, I'll introduce you to my Lord and Savior, Jesus. Okay. All right.
Mankind ill needs a savior such as yourself.
Okay, well, thank you, Ken.
You'll be thrilled for that, Fraternity. Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay,
take care. Bye.
Thank you. Peppered Moth here. Thank you, Joseph. Here's Nature magazine.
Burn in a fire, Kent.
Peppered Moth and Industrial Melanism, Evolution. Let's see. There's another one from The Naturalist. The peppered moth is a temperate species of night-flying moth. Peppered moth evolution is an example of population genetics and natural selection. No, it's not. Nothing evolved.
Yes, it is.
The ratio of the population might have changed, if even that's true. After watching for 40 years, they found 2 resting on the tree. Guys, do the research. It's not true. Stop using this one. Khan Academy, I wouldn't trust them if they told me it was raining outside. Learn for free about math, art, computer programming, and how to be brainwashed into believing in evolution. Okay. Let's see. Natural selection in peppered moths. They did a video. Khan Academy, I'll debate all you guys same time. The peppered moth is not an example for evolution. It's an example of amazing design. Science, National Pornographic, Evolution in Color, from peppered moths to walking sticks. There's a great book, Icons of Evolution, by Jonathan Wells. I don't think we sell it. Go to iconsofevolution.com. Excellent book. Covers the peppered moth and others. All different icons that they use as examples of evolution that one by one get proven wrong.
Never a dull day. Seth got some craziness going on.
Evolution News and Science Today. Nobel Prize versus peppered moth. Now this one actually, honestly, teaches the truth about the peppered moth. So Evolution News, they're going to say, well, that's a creationist magazine. I don't know. Maybe it is. Is that a sin to believe in creation?
No, but it shows extreme bias given the propensity for creationists to lie. It's kind of a hallmark of being a creationist. You're a professional liar.
If I said, I want you to explain how this Casio databank watch came about, but you cannot use man as your answer, well, you're stuck.
Duh. I don't know, Kent. Maybe it's a fucking malformed proposition because, I don't know, maybe because those things are known to be artificial. And yet again, you claim that everything is effectively artificial, meaning there is no natural world, according to you, and thus such distinctions are meaningless. You fuck your own logic up when you do that. Also, you're a piece of shit and an all-around prick.
There's the only answer is somebody had to design it. The only answer for the peppered moth, it's logical, somebody had to design it. Here's the conclusions and we'll quit. The moth population shifted from mostly white to mostly black as the trees turned black. That's how the story goes. The moth was able to adapt to the new environment. That's how the story goes. We find out now that's not even true. And this all helps prove we came from a rock. That's the logical steps that they take, leaving out a few other steps. Common sense. The moth was designed to be able to produce a variety of baby colors, so some will survive in various environments. It shows the smart designer was thinking ahead. Peppered moth, not the dumb evolution religion. We should praise God for his design. Challenge to evolution. Even though most scientists and religious leaders no longer see evolution and religion in conflict, because evolution is a religion. A minority of Christian fundamentalists remain opposed to evolutionary biology. Creation science is built on faith, not science. This is what they say. Since its scientific statements are false, scientists do not think creation science has a place in biology classrooms. The reason is it can be confusing, even dangerous, to mix science with non-scientific beliefs. I agree. That's why evolution should be taken out of the science books.
Billy says, I'm going to go ahead and predict it now that something's going to happen and can't make it to the Ark because some vehicle broke down or something. Then ask for donations to fix it. I wouldn't be surprised in the least. I give that 50-50 odds myself.
Let's see. Okay, for example, if medical doctors had no understanding of evolution, they would not realize that overuse of antibiotics has disastrous effect on causing bacteria to evolve resistance to antibiotics.
Yep, that's part of the reason you can't just go to a store and buy antibiotics. Aside from allergy issues and other problems that can happen, including taking too much and destroying your entire gut fauna to the point where you might as well have been blasted with 4,000 rem. You know, it's a fucking graveyard everywhere. All your cells are dead. Not that extreme with antibiotics, but still. Taking it back serious for a very brief moment, that is part of the reason. One, allergic issues. Two, the damage that can be caused by taking too much of an antibiotic. And three, the fact that they evolve resistances. And those that survive, it's kind of going to be a problem because now you can't quite fight the bacteria as efficiently as you could.
Although antibiotics have been overused, medical doctors are aware of the situation. They know why bacteria evolve resistance, and they're taking steps to fix the problem. If doctors had no understanding of evolution, the very serious problem we already face with respect to the emergence of antibiotic resistance bacteria would be worse. If we prevent our secondary school students from learning what science has to offer, we run the risk that they will not be able to compete effectively in college classrooms. Oh, the sky is falling. Here it is. The sky is falling. When scientific understanding and non-scientific beliefs come into conflict, as illustrated by the conflict between evolutionary science, biology, and creation science. Evolution, this is their altar call. The kids will not get jobs if we don't teach evolution.
Ah, yes, parody everything to religion, because that's the only thing that exists in human society is religion. What a clod.
And preach evolution. That's their altar call. If we prevent secondary students from learning what science has to offer, I'm in favor of that. I love science. Evolution isn't part of it, that's all.
Lie detector determined that was a lie.
It's a religion. Peppered moth, still not evolving. Great article on ICR.org. Another great article on Answers in Genesis. Okay, that's it. Questions and comments, Joseph?
Yeah, you suck.
I guess I can get rid of this. It's hot.
Ooh, Christopher Tucker with the hard-hitting questions.
Why aren't you on Standing for Truth anymore? I don't know. I did 40 shows on there. Still friends with them. I'll do more if they want me. He's trying to get other people, more menu on the smorgasbord, I guess. There's a whole lot of people starting new creation.
Oh, and notice when he stutters and stammers over himself like he does, that's when you know he's completely fucking full of it. When he's just making shit up.
Ministries, I encourage them. Start one. Okay. Raw creation. If evolution is so smart, why doesn't it know how to get rid of God? I like that. Good.
Well, since Kent dropped the word earlier, I feel obligated to drop it at least once. Wow, that is the most retarded thing I've seen this entire stream.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Wesley. Okay. I live in Florence, Northwest Alabama. Definitely going to visit y'all with my family next time I go down. Well, please come on down, David. It's a blast here. Cabins, everything's free. We feed you, house you.
I'd rather stay in Florence, Alabama. And I say that having been through the place. Well, I was south of it. It went past Muscle Shoals. But my friend Steve, the guy I used to work with, the one I bought my gun from, the one who had really nice record Laserdisc collection, he worked at Muscle Shoals record studio. You know, so he helped produce some pretty big albums through the years. He was from Florence. And so I would really like to visit there at some point, just to sort of pay tribute to, hey, this is where my buddy grew up. And Steve was kind of like Kent if Kent was actually a likable person. So that's what I think that kind of bugs me. Not quite the same build or anything. Had a little bit of similar appearance and like, but he had a lot of the same mannerisms, but was a lot more pleasant. Like, you know, just an actually likable version of this kind of person. And it sucked when he passed because it's like Steve didn't deserve that. I've had 2 friends die of congestive heart failure. That fucking sucks. But yet Hoven's still around, right? But yeah, I want to go to Florence to sort of pay tribute in some way to my friend. I've got his old the address of the house he grew up in, saved in a text file somewhere. In a case of going by it and, just doing the little thinking that you do when, you're trying to do that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's hard to describe because, people end up adopting and be like, oh, you're doing religious symbology. And it's like, no, I'm just doing some self introspection and, appreciating the memory of a friend and sort of celebrating his existence in that historical way of like, this was where he grew up. This is the street for all those stories he told me. This was the actual place. Cool. I've been here.
Stay too long, we put you to work. Billy, how long you been here now? 3 years. Okay. Definitely put him to work. Joseph, you been? Almost 4? Yep. Okay, other questions? Can we do a discussion about why the Bible says the earth is flat? Because it doesn't say the earth is flat.
Oh, once again, a fucking flat earther coming in. This is the intelligence of the people you attract, Kent. That should tell you something.
No, there's nothing to
And yes, the Bible does say the earth is flat.
discuss. And why there is no outer space. No, we can't do a discussion on that. That's somebody else has to fight that dragon. I've got all I can handle with evolution. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. See you tomorrow night. We're going to do more. I'm going to pick another one of the icons of evolution and demolish that one. Stop using gill slits. Stop using vestigial structures. We're going to do that one tomorrow night. More on vestigial structure.
Oh, here we go. Wonder if he's going to bring up whale penises tonight.
Stop using the embryology. Just stop using it, guys. It isn't evidence for your religion. What you're going to end up with is realizing there's nothing left to support your religion. And you're going to have to admit, wow, there is no science. Don't use the peppered moth. It's not scientific evidence for your religion. It's not. So that ought to fire him up, Joseph. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Eat shit and die, Kent. All right, well, that was fun. Just checking up on the last few comments. Yeah, the issue with ban evasion and with Donnie, as well as other stuff, it's a big one. Now, I feel like the occasional appearance wouldn't be necessarily so bad per se, but in the way he'd be presented, still. But that's just, I don't know. Just kind of thinking out loud on stuff. And hey, Captain Desk, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, wow, that was a lot to go through. Kent sucks at arguing against flat Earth, and it's like, how? Yeah, he. This is the thing. If it's not in his script, cannot articulate anything. That's his thing. So he can't discuss anything out of what he's, rigged everything for. He has no ability to discuss something on the fly. It's kind of incredible. But yeah, that about sums that up. I got food to eat. Thought I'd pop off the day with a nice stream. Getting these things more concise, only an hour, 20 minutes. It's not bad at all. Thanks for stopping in, everyone, as always. I'm gonna eat some food and play some Guild Wars and probably work on a few other things, then stream again later tonight. So I'll catch you then.